Welcome to the Tourism News Wrap. My name is Jason Amu. Coming up, meetings industry players in Ethiopia lobby government for restart. UNWTO survey identifies 5 key areas to scale up tourism recovery. Nigeria seeks tourism Marshall Plan to aid post-COVID-19 recovery. And dismay after UK fails to join EU-led scheme to revive tourism. Ethiopia's meetings, incentives, conferences and events industry players are urging the government to consider exceptions for their industry in order to gradually restart the sector. The coronavirus has had a damaging effect on the country's economy, thus including the business event sector. Speaking to Tourism News Wrap, the CEO of Flawless Events, Yuadan Tilahun, said conferencing companies are drafting guidelines to inform government's decision.
So we're writing this guideline along with the hotels, with the venues, so that the government can actually look at the sector and say it should not fall within all kind of gatherings. It needs to have its own category so that the sector can slowly start up. So meetings of 50 people, it could be meetings of 100 people, depending on the capacity of the venue. We should be able to allow at least the hotel sector to start making income and also practice on how to hold physically distanced and safe meetings in the country. So we put the guideline together. It's in the final draft. We're submitting that to Tourism Ethiopia so they can consider it and push it forward to the powers to be.
Member states of the United Nations Tourism Organization's Commission for Africa has identified 5 key areas among the UNWTO's Agenda for Africa for scaling up COVID-19 recovery plans. The organization's 10-point Agenda for Africa comprises a set of guidelines aimed at developing, growing and promoting tourism on the continent. The director of Africa at the UN tourism body, Elsia Grancu, had this to say.
Our survey was launched principally because our work in the department is pretty much guided by the 10-point Agenda for Africa, and therefore it was important during this pandemic to also hear our members and hear what they needed us to put more emphasis on in order to help them to better respond to this crisis. And the findings of the survey showed us that the top 5 key areas of the agenda that members want us to prioritize in order to assist them with the swift recovery includes unlocking growth through investment and promotion, promoting innovation, promoting travel facilitation, fostering resilience, safety and security, and advocating Brand Africa.
Nigeria's Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, has called for a Marshall Plan to aid the recovery of the travel and tourism sector in Africa in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. He was speaking at the 63rd meeting of the UNWTO Regional Commission for Africa, hosted virtually by Seychelles on Monday, 8 June 2020.
We were all preparing to converge in Seychelles when COVID-19 struck. But here we are, holding the meeting, though virtually, thanks to technology. There is no clearer indication of how the world has changed since the advent of the pandemic. The ability to adapt and recover quickly in the face of tough challenges is called resilience.
Have you been wondering what travel will be like post-COVID-19? Jeanette Seha, a travel journalist, has this to say.
Let's start with flying. Things at the airport have changed dramatically over the past 2 to 3 months. Everything from the TSA agents that have to wear face masks, gloves, to when you actually fly on a plane, as well as the crew, the pilots, and the flight attendants will be wearing face masks as well. And some airlines are asking passengers to also adhere to wearing a face mask during the pandemic.
Bench Events and Eviodev Africa, organizers of the Africa Tourism Conference, has named the lineup of speakers for the virtual conference slated to come off on 21st July 2020.
I'd like to invite you all to attend Africa Tomorrow, the first virtual conference dedicated to aviation, tourism and hospitality in Africa. It is free to attend for all Africans and Africa-based businesses, and we already have around 50 speakers confirmed for the conference. These include Raphael Cucci from IR, Uganda, Honourable Minister Balala from Kenya, Rafilwe Ledwaba from Girls 5 Programme for Africa from South Africa, and of course the one and only Kojo Benton-Williams from Voyage Afrique.
Tourism and travel leaders have expressed disappointment and frustration after it emerged that the UK will not be taking part in an EU-led data sharing project to reboot tourism as lockdowns are being lifted. The European Commission has launched an app and website that provides travelers with real-time information about coronavirus rules and the status of infections in each European country. A Commission spokesperson told The Guardian the UK was not included as the government had not asked to be involved. The meetings, incentives, conferences and events sector is set to resume in Rwanda after an extraordinary cabinet chaired by President Paul Kagame on Tuesday resolved that hotels be allowed to host gatherings, meetings and conferences effective immediately. The meeting also allowed domestic and international tourism for visitors traveling with chartered flights to resume. Commenting on the reopening, Belis Kariza, the Chief Tourism Officer at RDB, said Rwanda's tourism industry is adapting to create a safe environment for travelers and operators in order to thrive in these unprecedented times. We encourage all travel enthusiasts and nature explorers to take advantage of this unique opportunity to venture out and experience the beauty and adventure that our country has to offer. And before we wrap up, here is how tourism SMEs are coping in this era of COVID-19.
Certainly we are not in normal times. Business has changed, slow traffic. However, we are fully prepared for managing and controlling the spread of COVID-19. At Base Lodge, for instance, face masks or you don't enter. Face mask is mandatory with marked spaces where you have to give a space for at least 2 meters, and then we sanitize, guests, maybe your hands.
The last few months have been challenging, and in order to adapt, we've had to include in our business cargo services. This has helped us to serve our customers, and we've gained new clients. I look forward to the restart of tourism globally. We must be ready to adapt to the new normal, which ensures sustainability, innovation, collaboration, and synergy.
There's more news on www.voyageafrique.com and all our social media platforms. My name is Jason Amo.